Yo, hell yeah. Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hi. Hi, I said hi. To all my YouTube listeners out there, if you like what you hear, and if you like what you see, just click that subscribe button at the bottom of all of your screens. I said click it, click it, click it, click it. I loves to click it. Yeah, I do. Well, look, as you know, the Wyatt podcast loves authors. We love authors here. We really, really, really do. So today's special guest is author and health and wellness guru, Mr. Corky Henderson, aka Healing. And the gentleman's new book is titled Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing. And y'all is getting rave reviews. So you know what I say? You know what I say? I say, let's talk to him right now. So without further ado, Wyatt presents author and health and wellness guru, Mr. Corky Henderson, aka Healing. Talk at me, my brother. How the hell are ya?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Wyatt. I'm really looking forward to this conversation and reaching out to the people.
Oh, listen, man, my pleasure. I've got to first give a shout out to Mr. Philip Esteem of PrideIndex.com, and he connected us. And Philip, I appreciate you. I sure do.
Yes, thank you, Philip. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Philip's a great guy. He really, really is.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, my brother, congratulations on your new book. It's titled Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing. And it's a collection of poetry, poems, and affirmations that touches on everyday experiences that we all have, which is great. Now, we're going to do a deep dive into it a little bit later. But for right now, give us peoples the 25-word or less or more elevator pitch.
Okay, sure. So basically, Journey to Consciousness is first and foremost an extension of my first book that came out, which is called Mind Over Matter, The Awakening. Oh. And so basically the first book was a collection of poems and positive affirmations around various themes that we deal with in life, like family, like love, like relationship, and connection. All from a spiritual perspective. And so Journey to Consciousness is basically, like I said, an extension of that book. So it houses all of the content from the first book and then the additional affirmations that I was writing after first book came out went into the second book. The main difference between the two is that the second book now has a table of content where the first book did not. And so readers are able to kind of flip through the book and go to various areas that they would prefer to read about. And so both the poetry section and the affirmation section is broken out into these categories, like I mentioned before, like love, relationships, spirituality, things of those nature.
Great. Okay. Yeah, we need a table of contents.
Definitely. Yeah, that was a mistake the first time, but we'll make it again.
Well, listen, Healing. You live and you learn. What can I tell you?
Definitely.
You know. Okay. Well, did my research and Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing is receiving outstanding reviews. I'm going to read one. Okay, and I quote, Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing extends an invitation to readers for a transformative journey. Through an intricate blend of poetry and affirmations, the book delves into the intricate mosaic of life, encompassing themes such as love, spirituality, culture, and consciousness. That's something else. And here's another one. Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing succeed, and I quote, succeeds in raising awareness, promoting personal exploration, and deepening emotions through its evocative verses and compelling discourse, end quote. My brother, would you care to comment? And before you do, don't break your hand patting yourself on the back.
Well, because you told me to. But no, but thank you so much.
Well, sure.
It's a blessing to not only be able to chronicle my own journey in terms of spiritual enlightenment, but to be able to do it in a way that I can share with others in hopes that I can help someone else along their own spiritual journey. And if there's anything that I've experienced that can be a beacon or a guide to someone else as they travail along their journey, even if it's just one person, I'm happy to do that. And so, having the book receive such amazing reviews, just kind of music in my ears, because that means that it's having an impact on people's lives. And that's the main goal here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now, before we do a deep dive into Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing, and also into Mind Over Matter, the acronym is MOM. I love acronyms. I'm an acronym type of guy. Mind Over Matter, MOM, the company that you founded. Let's travel through the corridors of time, so that our audience can find out all about your backstory, because you know what? We here at Wyatt are nosy like that.
Hey, that's how the information gets out, so I'm here for it.
You got that right. So, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised right here in Chicago, Illinois.
All right.
Lived most of my life, but also lived in Atlanta for almost 14 years. And Atlanta's kind of like a second home to me at this point. Went to school there and decided to stay there for a while until September 2013, when I decided to move back home to be with family and to kind of spearhead my career from there.
Got it. Brothers, sisters, what's your family structure?
Yeah, so I am the second oldest of 4 children. So I have an older brother. I have a younger sister who lives in Atlanta, and then I have my youngest brother just started college a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job.
Cool. Okay, Healing. I'd love to ask my special guest this question. And here it is. What was healing like as a little boy, a little nipper? Give us like 3 qualities, attributes, or characteristics that best describe you.
Okay. Well, I was certainly a mama's boy.
Why was that?
My mother, so I had my mother, and then my father remarried, so I had my stepmother. So both of them were kind of like, we were joined at the hip. And I guess I just kind of gravitated towards the more nurturing side of my rearing or parenting. And so certainly definitely have a very strong relationship and good relationship still with my father. But, if I look back, I was definitely mama's boy. But always like curious about life, which was interesting because at a very early age, I remember at least once a year, sometimes more than that, but at least once a year, I would sit and just reflect on what's going on in my life, and what I need to change to make it more like what I choose it to be. I used to be a very gullible person. And that had caused me to have some experiences where I felt taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And so wanting to change that, there was one time when I was sitting and reflecting, I realized, okay, what I need to do is not change who I am, but change how I give. And what I mean by that
Oh,
is
yeah.
being giving and open and very generous, that's my nature. So I can't change that. And if I were to try to change that, then I wouldn't be true to myself. And so what I decided to do is just be more discerning of who I help and how I help them. And, that became my mantra throughout life.
Absolutely. Well, instead of saying gullible, I would say you were just very trusting.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. Okay, then you were good. I like it. I like it.
But thank you for the verb of approval.
Anytime, and you know what, man? I won't even charge you for it. This is on the house.
Hey, one good turn deserves another.
There you go. Okay, now it's my understanding that you began writing poetry very early on, usually inspired by love interests, spiritual epiphanies, and familial hardships, etc. Please expound, because inquiring minds want to know. This might be kind of juicy.
Well, it was thoroughly juicy for me, so much so that in most cases I couldn't go to sleep until I set up and wrote. So, okay, to take you back, um, this is, let's see, like uh, mid '80s, maybe, mid to late '80s. I was in California attending high school. My freshman year of high school, and I had an AP English course.
Okay.
And part of one of the assignments in the course was we had to first find a poet that we liked, and then write a poem that kind of mimics a poem that author wrote. And so the person that I chose was Langston Hughes. And the poem that I chose, it's one that starts, "Life for me hasn't been no crystal stair." And I think it's called "A Dream Deferred." And so I wrote a poem patterned after his poem, and I enjoyed that experience so much, and it did so much for me that became kind of a thing for me from that point on. And so generally, like, if there was someone I was liking on,
I like. Okay,
yeah,
okay, liking on. Okay.
The emotional response that I had to that person was so intense, so much so that, like I said, I couldn't go to sleep. And then what I realized is that, okay, well, let me get up and write about it. And that became a pattern of mine. And so, I would have these impulses, like sometimes it was love interest, sometimes it was like just these huge epiphanies that I would have in terms of my own spiritual journey or spiritual walk. And I said, I need to write about this so that A, I can chronicle it, and B, I can have something to refer back to, when I need to understand what my journey was like, or even to share with someone else. And so, I would get up and it could be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, I can't sleep until I get up and write. And I would get up and write. And as soon as I'm done writing, not only can I fall asleep, but then I don't remember what I wrote. So thankfully it's on paper. I can refer back to it. I don't remember anything. So it's literally like God was speaking through me to put this experience on paper. And that just became a collection of poems that I would collect and keep for years on end until finally they ended up in a book.
Okay, I have got to healing. I must ask you this question because my Wyatt audience knows that I'm a naughty man. So here is the question. And if you don't want to answer it, that's okay. But here is the question. The question is this, my friend. Before or after writing, did you have that wet dream?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that question because
uh,
I remember as a little boy hearing about people's wet dream stories,
mhm.
and I would think, okay, that'd be interesting to experience. I've certainly had dreams about people and about situations that could have caused a wet dream, but to be honest, I've never had one. And maybe it's because, and this is another part of, my story. I became sexually active very early on in life.
Oh, okay.
And, I don't know if we want to delve into that, but I think because of that,
You can if you want to, but I understand
okay,
if you
well, that's fine.
don't.
So I was 7 years old
Mm-hmm.
when I had my first sexual experience.
Wow.
And believe it or not, the person was a, a step sibling of mine.
Wow. Okay.
And they were a year younger. So, and actually, it was my 6-year-old stepbrother,
Mm.
and that was my first experience. And so, I think that and I've asked myself this question, several times throughout my life: who would I be today had that not happened?
Oh.
Because so like I said, he was my stepbrother. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, my father and his mother eventually got married,
Mm-hmm.
and so we grew up together for some years before my father and she decided to separate and get a divorce. And so and unfortunately he uh, was murdered at 15 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So you can imagine it hit me pretty hard given
Yeah.
the relationship that we had. But um and so I've asked myself about that experience and how it
Certainly.
shaped me and who I would be had that not happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like what's supposed to be will be. And so, the person that I am today is the person that I was destined to be at this moment. And I feel like even if that didn't happen, something else would have brought me to who I am today.
Hmm. Healing. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Okay. Let us fast forward to your university experience. I believe you have a BA in English Lit from Morehouse and
Mm-hmm.
you have an MBA from the University of Phoenix.
Yes.
In particular, what was the Morehouse experience like and how has it shaped you into the man that you are today?
Yeah. Growing up, I would always hear about Morehouse College, and whenever people would speak about the school, it was just in such high esteem
Mm-hmm.
that, when I was thinking about schools that I wanted to attend, given the conversations that I've heard and the reputation that I've experienced around Morehouse, that was number one on my list. And so, um, junior year and senior year of high school, I really kind of hit the pavement hard trying to apply for scholarships and get money for school and things of that nature. I have the grades, but we know that the grades don't always equate to money for school. So,
True, true. Yep.
I was really kind of putting myself out there to garner everything that I could to help pay for school. And so, I got a scholarship, a United Negro College Fund scholarship that paid for my whole tenure at Morehouse.
Wow.
Um, and so now, with that being taken care of, it was just attending the school. And the high esteem that people spoke about Morehouse just had me putting the school on a pedestal, and I just had this just really lofty idea of what my experience would be at the school. And when I got there, it was a little different, but
Mm-hmm.
but I won't second guess the education that I get there at all. It was truly an amazing experience. And then me being 18,
Mm-hmm.
first time living outside of Chicago, first time living away from my parents, and kind of being on my own and being my own man, making my own decisions, it was really interesting. And then it being in a place like Atlanta, Georgia. So,
Hotlanta.
Yeah. And it was
Hot Atlanta. Hot Atlanta. Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
there were so many
yes.
experiences, even early on, that just really kind of helped to guide me. I knew, I was a member at Sweet Holy Spirit Full Gospel Baptist Church here in Chicago at the time. And people kept telling me, oh, Atlanta's going to eat you up. And, they're going to, eat you alive and everybody's going to be at you and, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe, but not so much. And so I got there kind of a little on guard because of what I heard. And so, the LGBTQ community in Atlanta, if anybody knows, is very prevalent. And so that was something else for me that I was starting to kind of really branch out into at that time. And so not just kind of starting my education and my professional journey, but also my personal journey and lifestyle. And so it really showed me who I could be when thrown into the quote unquote lion's den.
Yeah. Oh, the lion's den. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. Okay. Let us fast forward to your brand new book. Yes. Like I said, it's getting rave reviews. Again, it's titled Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing. And we're also going to slide into Mind Over Matter.
Okay.
We want to know about that too. But first, I think knowing why you took on the moniker of healing is really important to talk about before we talk about the two endeavors that I just mentioned. So could you tell us about that, please?
Sure. So in 2007, I had a spiritual awakening.
Okay.
And so what sparked this awakening was I was at home in my house in Atlanta. I was laid off and had recently started a new job as a credit report person. And so my prayer was that I wanted to know and love myself in a more substantial way. And at the time, I knew that what that meant was I needed to deepen my relationship with God and understand and know God more. And then the more that I know about God and learn to love God, then that by default would be a deeper love for myself. Right. And so that was my prayer. And I promise you, just a couple of days later, I was still in training at this new job. And the guy who was training me had these books on his desk. I think one of the books was The Eye of the I. And the other one was, I think, the Urantia book and then Conversations with God. And so, I asked him about the books and we started to talk about the books, and he started to explain to me about his own spiritual journey and how The Eye of the I is a book that kind of covers the different levels of truth that everything exists is on. So there's this spectrum that goes from 0 to 1,000, where everything that exists on this earth has its own level of truth. And so we were talking about that. He was telling me about the Urantia book, how it chronicles Jesus's life in addition to what's in the Bible. So there's several years of Jesus' life that's cut out of the Bible. And so from like 12 until he gets like his early 30s, we don't know what happened. So the Urantia book gives an account of that. Is it true or not? I don't know, but at least it exists. And then there was Conversations with God. Now, Conversations with God was the book that had the most impact. He actually let me see the book, and the one he had on his desk at the time was book 3. There are actually 3 books to that book, 3 additions to that book. And so there's book 1, book 2, and 3. He had book 3 on his desk, and he allowed me to read it. And that was the game changer. Like, it's like every question that I ever had about God, about myself, about my connection to God, my connection to others, was answered in this book. And it just, reading that book kind of really catapulted my journey on this amazing path. And I wanted to chronicle that journey. And so in that book, it talks about how everyone has their own nature. And so hearing that and reading that in the book, I started to pray and said, well, what's my nature? And then God revealed to me very clearly, your nature is healing. And so from that day forward, I started to go by the name Healing.
Whoa. Man, that's profound. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Definitely.
Very inspirational. So did that transformation lead you to create Mind Over Matter, Mom?
It did. Yes and no. So I started Mom actually in 2007, right when I had been laid off. And I was like, okay, so I've been laid off. We're in this economic downturn. Yeah. What can I do to make ends meet? And so then, I was very much into fitness and working out all the time. And people would ask me about what I'm doing to, keep myself up so well. And so I figured, okay, I can do personal training. Since people are interested in what I'm doing, I can share that and, make some money off of it. And so I started Mind Over Matter initially with that, but to the conversation that actually led into me starting Mom was a conversation I had with my father, who has helped several nonprofits. He does my taxes. So he's an accountant. And I was talking to him about, what's wrong with health and wellness in this country.
Right.
And, how this country focuses on the symptoms as opposed to curing the cause. And so we were talking about, a one-stop shop kind of health and wellness center. And that led into a conversation about starting Mom. And so Mom, at its infancy, was personal training and health and wellness products sold online. And then, so maybe a year or so later is when I had this spiritual epiphany. And so the company kind of shifted in that we were still offering personal training, still offering wellness products. But then we talked about putting the affirmations in a book, and then the book kind of existing under the umbrella of Mom as well. And now, fast forward, that was 2007, almost 20 years. That's kind of the main thing. So it's the book, the affirmations that are on the website, and we do eventually plan to open up a one-stop shop health and wellness center that will provide mental health counseling, substance abuse counseling, vocational training, spiritual counseling, life coaching, all of those things under one roof. So that's the eventual goal here. But yeah, that's how the company got started.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Well, let me ask you, Healing, what holistic health and wellness products and services does your company provide? Just give us the complete range.
Okay. Well, at the time we were offering those products, that was through a company called Melaleuca. Unfortunately, we had to cut ties with that company. And so the wellness products part of it, we'll have to eventually go into some type of agreement with a new organization to provide those. But right now, we do have, like I said, the books, and the Healing Affirmations blog is available on the website. And then, as we continue to add services, they will be promoted and communicated via the website.
Cool. Okay, now let's do a. Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Yeah.
We hear you.
To Chicago.
My God, we hear you. The ambulance is coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's dig down. Let's really dig deep into your new book, Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing. Tell us about it. What do you strive to accomplish with it? All of that good stuff.
Okay. So Journey to Consciousness, again, it's a compilation book that houses both the affirmations and poetry from book one, and then the additional pieces that I've written since book one are all housed in Journey to Consciousness, which is the second, basically my sophomore project.
Right.
And the goal is, again, to share my journey with as many people as possible, and like I said earlier, touching just one person is a blessing to me, because I want to have an impact on people's lives, a positive impact, that is. The goal too is I want to eventually get into life coaching.
Great. Okay.
And so probably leading into that, I'll probably take the pieces in the book and do like a podcast, maybe something similar to this, where I read the affirmations. My brother is a producer in Florida, and so I'll have him do the music in the background for those blogs,
right?
And so I want that to lead into my life coaching career. And then, like I said, eventually the goal is to have a one-stop shop health and wellness center.
Ambitious. That is like fabulous. All right.
Yes, sir. God willing, of course.
Yes, sir. That's fabulous. Okay. What are three takeaways from Journey to Consciousness, Affirmations of Healing?
One is that my destiny is my choice. So I can choose.
Wait a minute. Repeat that again. Okay.
Yeah, my destiny is my choice.
Okay.
Definitely. Two, I would say we are all connected, each and every one of us, and we are all connected through God. And so what I do to you, I do to myself. What I do for you, I do for myself. And we are inextricably connected to one another.
Okay.
Yep. And number three, I would say that there's nothing that we cannot accomplish if we apply the equation of belief plus choice equals action, which leads to destiny.
Please repeat that.
Right. Belief plus choice equals action. Action leads to destiny.
Wow. That's powerful. Powerful and profound. Thank you for that as well.
Definitely.
Here's a question for you. How can one evoke healing in the LGBTQ plus community?
There is a lot of heaviness that exists in the community, rightly so, just because of what we as the community have experienced from a societal standpoint, and then also what we continue to do to each other within the community. There's a lot of ostracizing and stigmatism that exists. And so if we decide to approach life from a place of love in all that we do, in all that we say, and we recognize the fact that we're all connected, there'll be a huge shift, not only in our community, but just in the world at large, because energy energy transfers, and so it accumulates. So the more energy of love that we garner within our community, the more of a change that we can affect in the world at large. Because, like I said, energy accumulates and energy transfers. And so, if we choose to love each other, if we could just do that simple thing, and I know that love means different things to different people, but if we use the approach of I love you like I love myself. If we can just start there, like I'll take care of you. You know how we used to get a fresh new pair of gym shoes, especially if they were white, and we was extra careful to make sure any dirt get on them and scrub them with toothbrushes and all that.
Right,
so
right.
Just imagine putting that level of care on yourself in the way of love, and then letting that love then spread to everyone in your circle, and then so on and so forth. That's an energy of love that we've never seen, and it is truly a world changer and a game changer.
My audience, take heed. Yeah, words of wisdom here. Where does your spiritual nourishment come from?
Oh, there's so many things. I read a lot, and there are several, like, kind of, I'm into astrology to some degree, so there are several like astrology blogs that I subscribe to that kind of give me some insight from day to day. I'm also a member of First Institutional Baptist Church, which is in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Pastor Warren Stewart is the pastor there. And just kind of having a deep, abiding, and personal relationship with God, where we talk all the time, throughout the day, at night, just frequent and open and candid communication with God, and recognizing that God doesn't need us to be eloquent. God doesn't need us to be, a wordsmith. God needs us to be genuine and true, and come to Him open and honest, and say what it is that's on our mind. Have a conversation. He's always there to listen and to provide guidance, and has and will. There's never been a time where I prayed and didn't get an answer to my prayer. But you have to be open to the answer, A, and B, be open to hear God's voice.
Okay. Thank you for that as well. Okay, Healing, what do you have on tap for the rest of this year into 2024, like events, new books, products?
Gotcha. Yeah, so I'm definitely still like every event where we have had a book signing, I've sold out. So I'll be continuing to do that, continue to promote the book. I'm working with a couple of agencies to help promote the book, and really get it out there. And I'm open to do, I think I'll be doing a talk at Malcolm X College sometime soon for one of the, my godfather is a professor at Malcolm X College and asked me to come and speak to his students one day. So I may be doing that before the end of the year. And I really want to take this book to the next level where the first one didn't go.
Absolutely.
So, putting a lot of energy and investment behind that, and then seeing where God takes it.
Where's Malcolm X College?
It is off of 290, going west, but it's just, I want to say it's just past, a little bit past the near north area of Chicago on 290, but it's going west away from downtown.
Okay. Great. Okay, so how can we, Healing, how can we follow you, connect with you? Give us all of your social media.
Sure, definitely. So the website address is www.momonline.us. And so that's www.m as in Mary, O as in Oscar, M as in Mary, O as in Oscar, N as in Nancy, L as in Larry, N as in Nancy, E.com. And there, any events that I have coming up will be listed there. There's also a website for the new book. It has a website of its own, and that's www.booksofhealing.com. And so, like I said, any events that I have coming up will be promoted there, as well as, links to my Twitter, to my Instagram, and to my Facebook pages.
Wonderful. Well, Mr. Corky Henderson, aka Healing, thank you for stopping by. Wyatt, listen, you can come back anytime you want. You've shined such light on this program, and I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, and I truly appreciate the opportunity. It's been great talking to you, Wyatt, and I look forward to further conversations, definitely.
My pleasure, my brother. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, so y'all, there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ plus news, features, commentary, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular. All I can say to that is, hey, baby. And at WyattEvans.com, you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And as you just saw on the top, the newest installment is called Shattered. I said Shattered. And y'all, Shattered is full of action, danger, intrigue, sexually charged situations, passion, and all of the wonderful elements that you're used to in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. So get your new copy of Shattered. Now you can follow me, your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, all across social media, and poof, is right there for you to peruse, like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any comments or whatever, you can hit me up at wyattonair@gmail.com. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. I said woof.